Hi everyone, it's Ren here. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to a new episodes of INFJ Thoughts, where I ramble about various topics. And today, I'm just gonna touch base with myself with regards to what's going to happen tomorrow, which is that tomorrow is actually my last day of work at the place where I'm currently working, which is an organization, non-governmental organization, NGO, working in the domain of education, promoting education for marginalized children and adults in mostly developing countries. So I'm finished with my contract at the end of this month, so tomorrow, and fortunately in Europe, I know that in the US things are not that good at that level, but in Europe, if you've been active professionally for a while, you can benefit from unemployment allowances. So I'm going to be getting that because I've been employed non-stop for quite a few years now, pretty much. And so the unemployment benefits are actually pretty comfortable, especially if you've worked in, like myself. So for someone who's been working in Geneva, one of the cities where the highest quality of life salaries are quite high here, even if you work in the non-profit sector. So I'm going to have comfortable unemployment, and that's excellent because my plan is actually not to find work straight away. I'm looking towards a sabbatical of at least 5 or 6 months. I'd say that I start thinking about the proper professional next step in about 5-6 months, around the mid-year, unless it turns out that I cannot wait to go back to work. But at the moment, I'm really just looking forward to having time for myself, because I just experienced the last year or so that I was kind of forcing myself a little bit to work. I was getting easily anxious and stressed and stuff like that, and I think that it just has to do with a part of me that is kind of almost like existentially rejecting this office work that I've been doing for the last few years. I think that it's not quite enough for me, and that I would like to do something else. The next few months are going to be about trying to figure out what it is that I'm going to do. So you often hear that NI dominants are people who have a plan. So it might look like I don't really have a plan, but maybe it's the first time in my life that I don't have a plan, and maybe that's exactly what I need right now. So I'm just hoping that I come up with a plan the next few months, but I just need to take a proper step back and figure out whether I could maybe do something else, or just find a way to find some passion in what I'm already doing, which honestly, doing communications for non-profits, it's not as exciting as I was hoping that it would be. So I'm contemplating a few things, either trying to take a break and then work in part-time so I can dedicate myself more to philosophy, maybe to this channel as well. For those who might have been concerned by one of my previous videos in which I talk about the future of this channel, I'm very much planning to keep it going. If it turns out that I still have things to say, if I find that I still have things to say, then I will definitely continue making videos, and I'm assuming that I will continue having things to say. So, but yeah, work as I see it, I just do not want it to be a constraint as such, not something that I'm doing just because I have to do it. Of course, to some extent, that's what work is, but I would like it to be as the least possible constraint, and as much as possible something that I find pleasure in. So in the next few months, I'm 31 years old right now, I'll be 32 in April. I'm going to be looking at how I could possibly move towards another professional area, which is either a professional area that is close to mine, and might require some training, but essentially would rely on the same skills that I have. So I could consider working in comp somewhere else, but I'm not sure that's what I want to do. One of my primary problems is that I end up getting bored too quickly and things are too easy, and I feel like I'm wasting my time, like I could be doing something more exciting, and that's the fundamental issue there. So I'll be looking at a few things. I mean, one option would be to look into the possibility of like teaching philosophy, I guess, or teaching full stop. But that there's a lot of issues with that, because obviously I don't have the certification for it. It would take a while, and I'm afraid that I get bored by teaching as well. As for university teaching, I have a PhD, but that would be for history. And you know, when you've fallen off the academic cycle for now 6 years, six or 7 years, I mean, like, to get back into it is incredibly hard, and I'm not even sure that that's what I want to do, because I'm much more of a philosopher at this point than a historian. But my technical PhD, my area of specialization is history of ideas, so it's still connected to philosophy, but still I think it'd be tough. Another option that I'm considering is actually reconverting into a psychologist, psychotherapist or psychologist. That's something that secretly I kind of dream of doing, and actually there's people in the past who've told me that I would be good at it, because I can listen and I have good insights and I can read people reasonably well, and I seem to just be passionate about that kind of thing. So I think part of me is really going to consider the possibility of like doing a degree in either psychology or psychotherapy to become a counselor. But then there's going to be other issues, like, do I want to do this in France? Do I want to do it in another country? Because studying psychology in France is very different than studying it in most other countries. In France, the influence is still very much Freudian, so there is very much of a psychoanalytical influence. So there's that, but there's also lots of other issues, because in France, at least, it's free. In other countries, it's quite expensive. Am I ready to go back to university, knowing that I've spent so much time there and I was kind of sick of it by the time I finished? I mean, I have a bachelor's degree in history and English. I have a master's in international politics and a doctorate in history of ideas. So, like, I'm kind of a maximum at that level as well. But still, you know, if I would like to contemplate possibly doing something in psychology for the rest of my life, something that brings meaning, something that brings me into contact with people, something that's profound, something where I can have a sense of responsibility that's a bit more tangible than what I'm doing now, where like you could be working for an NGO, and that's the case with most people who don't work in the field. When they work for NGOs, they are very distant from what is being done, so they only have a vague idea of what's being done. And I'm not really someone who wants to work in the field. I'm very happy to be most of the time by myself in my apartment. So, and then there's all the plans that have to do with the publication of my, publication. First of all, the drafting of the final manuscript of the on the notes on open monism that I talked a little bit about when I made my video about the NI vision that I was trying to retranscribe on screen. So for sure, in my period of inactivity, of unemployment, I will be focusing on like wrapping up the notes and starting to write the manuscript, with an aim to have something, to have made some good progress on the actual manuscript also by the end of this year. So that's a big undertaking, because my notes at the moment, I mean, I was writing some this morning. I have like 4,000 and almost 400 paragraphs at this point, for a total word count of 260,000 plus words. So that's like more than 1,000 pages, like current modern book format. Not that everything deserves to be in there, not at all, but like I'll have to cut a lot, and I'll have to rephrase everything that I'm talking about for the final manuscript, and think about how to present this, how to make it accessible, how to make it poetic, how to make it good. I want it to be as good as possible, and if I can make a dent with it, that would be even more amazing. So I'll be focusing on that. But I mean, I'm pretty realistic about the fact that that's not going to be a lucrative thing, at least not at first. You know, it's my passion. My passion is not something that I can make a lot of money from necessarily, and that's completely fine. But if what I want to make money from could be still, like, if not a passion, at least something that I feel committed towards. That would be nice. So these are a lot of questions, and I'll be spending my time between Geneva, where I have an apartment, in the south of France, where I can see my family. So yeah, that's what the next few months are going to be like. I'm probably going to be traveling a little bit as well, to the extent that that's possible and allowed. And yeah, I just really look forward to it. And the fact that there is a little bit of uncertainty in the next steps doesn't really perturb me that much. It would have in the past, because usually I like to have this a concrete plan, even though it's a broad outline of the plan. Right now, what I need is to, like, no longer feel like I'm part of a system that I kind of feel like I don't really belong in. I don't really want to be. I think that maybe this is like my type 4 side as well, like, but I just find that, I don't know, I just see people that go into work and just taking that as their life, and I'm like, Jesus, I need so much more meaning than this. I just cannot go on. I cannot go on. And, like, I'm still young enough, so either I do it now or never do it, you know. So I decided to do it. I decided to not look for another job for now, and to just enjoy, for the first time in a long time, in decades, actual freedom and doing what I want to do. And we'll see what happens. Perhaps I will love it. Perhaps I will find it stressful. Perhaps I'll find that I miss being in the workplace quicker than I think right now. Who knows? I just know that I really look forward to it, and I look forward to making some more videos for this channel, for you guys. And yeah, so that was like a little update on you know, what's happening at the moment in my life. I cannot say, like, I was chatting to a friend recently, and he was saying that for someone who has been made redundant, because that's kind of what's happened, although I kind of knew that it would happen because there's a restructuration going on in that workplace. I'm the happiest redundant person in the world, and that's kind of true. You know, I would have sooner or later resigned, I think, from this place. So I've got some money saved. I got, you know, I'm gonna be good for the next few months, that's for sure. No worries on that front. So yeah, freedom is awaiting me, and who knows where that leads me. So maybe when I have some more, like, hindsight on all this and on what it means for the work-life balance and everything else, I make another video that's about that from a more philosophical point of view. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. So yeah, it's not easy to find a balance between work and life, between passion and responsibility, or rather between passion and employment, because you can be responsible. There's lots of ways to be responsible that have nothing to do with the professional work and the professional realm. So yeah, those were my thoughts. And on this note, I'm going to return to reading some stuff that I'm into at the moment. Maybe I'll talk about it. I cannot really talk about it right now because it's some philosophical readings I'm doing, and my NI has not quite synthesized everything, but I will have some cool insights to share with you soon enough. In the meantime, I'll catch you soon, guys. Have a lovely end of the day or start of the day, depending on where you are in the world. All right, see ya.